and further that the agenda items to be taken up at this meeting are necessary to continue operations and discharge lawful purposes, duties, and responsibilities of the board. And with that, I make a motion that we approve the online meeting.
Okay, second. All right, we got to do a voice vote. Buzz?
Yes.
Bobby?
Yes.
Otis? Is he waving his hand or something?
Otis is muted. He raised his hand.
All right, and Doug?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. We may now move ahead with our meeting. I hope everybody
I
got
apologize for being late. I've got computer problems over here.
I think it's a virus that's catching all of us, Otis.
You think so?
I don't know, but anyway, it's good to have all of you here this morning. Thank you. Does anybody have any additional things for the agenda?
I don't have anything for the agenda, but I do need to pop out at 1100. I've got to go. I've got an appointment to get some stitches taken out of my hand today.
Okay. And who was that? That was Buzz?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's make sure we've got all the motions
Mr.
made
Chairman?
before 11 o'clock.
Rick, I do
Yes.
have an additional item on the agenda,
Okay,
and that would be under personnel. The National Fish and Wildlife Foundation grant requirements.
We have added that
Okay.
down here.
You
Yep.
have, okay. I apologize.
So the new two things on the agenda under ag and cost share in red is the solar projects we added, and then under other business is the NIFWIF grant.
Okay, I see that. Thank you.
okay, very good. All right, we do have a quorum. I declare a quorum present. Those are the additions now. Everybody, I hope, got their packets, and we need to do something with the minutes for March the 16th. The floor is open.
I did not get the packet, and Rhonda, next time I'm gonna have to pick it up. I was being too autistic at our post office.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, the floor is open.
I'll move that
Somebody
we
bottom-
approve the minutes from last month.
Second.
Okay, we have, okay, motion and second. All those in favor, Doug,
Approve.
Otis,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
and Buzz.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. Next order of business is treasurer's report.
Wendy is not here today, but she asked that I report that the treasurer's report looks fine. Everything is plugging right along, and she would recommend approval for the audit.
Okay, we need a motion for approval to send to audit.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, second motion and second. Those affirm, Doug,
Approve.
Otis,
Approve.
Bobby,
Yes.
and Buzz.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. And the budget and actual, if there are any questions, let's have them. Otherwise, that's for information. Okay. Move on, agency partners. Mark, we missed you last month. We didn't miss you a whole lot, but we missed you. Go ahead.
Well, I missed you guys too. Last month I was down at the farm, and that is where I am now. We've got a couple of big projects ongoing, and it's an exciting time for us. You got a copy of my written report. I've got the third quarter reports from your staff already, and disbursement letters will go out May 7th. Thank your staff for their excellent work in getting the quarterly reports together on time, and they were accurate. Thank you very, very much. Little note about cover crop practices. Before your staff can issue payments or tax credits, got to have a current nutrient management plan on file. Carryover is something that your staff will help the directors work through at your January meeting, and I'll be sending more instructions out in regards to managing carryover. You've got veteran staff such that I don't think it'll be an issue. Got a few reminders from the grant agreement. For example, there need to be 2 board reviews of the annual plan of work. And that's not that you have to make any revisions, but just touch base with the annual plan of work and see how you're doing for this fiscal year. And they've listed a few others. Then, matter of fact, it's a good idea, I think, anyway, to review all the district policies on an annual basis to see if there are any changes or updates needed. Little piece of information regarding nutrient management regs. They will come under review. Stay tuned for a public notice about an opportunity for comments. You got a few dates down at the bottom. May 4 will be a webinar for getting up to snuff on what it means to submit an attachment D budget template. That'll be your budget request for FY23 that the agency will need by the 15th of July, such that we can put our budget request together for the Secretary of Natural Resources. So that's a real critical thing for you all to be aware of. You may need a finance committee to convene to get to work on that. Information in that regard is just sent out from Blair Gordon. So that's a task for the spring. Miscellaneous things. There are 9 spot checks for your staff and me to conduct, and I'll be in touch with them in regards to scheduling a day to take a look at those 9 BMPs that are within lifespan. An opportunity for a director or 2 to ride along and see what your staff has been doing out in the field. So I look forward to that. One of the more fun, enjoyable parts of my job. Now, you all are aware that the association had its quarterly board meeting. I think it was on the 14th. Yeah, 14th. And I don't know if all of you have seen our agency report to the association, but I thought I would just run over a few things, some of which I believe directors should be aware. Daryl touched upon the Ag BMP surveys. Number of responses less than hoped for, but we'll move forward with processing that survey, or actually it's more of a association extension duty as I understand it. Your extension agents will be trained on conducting verifications, we should say, of 10% of the reported practices. I'm not terribly involved in all of that, but just be aware. You all should be aware that the tillage/survey survey has been postponed a year, and that's a good thing. There is an NRCS and DCR data sharing agreement. I was aware of such, but I did not realize that our agency will be generating grant agreements with the districts to visit a subset of those NRCS practices to see if they're still in place, evaluate them for meeting standards and specs, see if they're still functioning. So that's just a verification process. But I was kind of interested in seeing that in Daryl's written report to the association. TAC will be will operate this year, perhaps not as a full body due to the COVID restrictions, but we anticipate the various subcommittees will be able to meet in person. So there'll be a webinar kind of kicking off the TAC later in May. Shoot, what was the date on that? I think David Bryan sent an email out in that regard. the webinar 2 p.m. on the 25th of May. That's a Tuesday. So just be aware that we will have some sort of a more formal TAC process this year, unless COVID throws another surprise at us. The state board meets next on April 21. It'll be a virtual meeting. It's listed under miscellaneous dates in my written report. They'll be taking a look at all the proposed changes for the upcoming program year, changing the cap from 100,000 to 150,000. And presumably they will adopt the portable fencing specification, a new BMP required by the Bay Bill. And being virtual, do consider checking in and trying to catch some or all of that April 21st state board meeting. There was correspondence from David to your district staff in regards to some legislative changes to the Ag BMP tax credit program, as well as the equipment tax program. Of most concern to us immediately are the changes to the Ag BMP tax credit. The caps, if you will, on those are going up to $25,000 and $50,000 if the BMP is associated with an approved resource management plan. So there's going to be some tweaking of the tracking program, and our agency needs to clear some things with the State Department of Taxation. The legislation was relatively simple to write, but it poses some administrative challenges. So David's email was to the district to say, please hold off on issuing any 2021 tax credits until we get a full sense of what the changes mean from an administration standpoint. And that is it for my report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mark, thank you. Any questions or comments to Mark? We appreciate you looking after us, Mark, and keep us informed, and we'll see if we can follow along.
All right, thank you.
Take care on the farm. I hope it goes well.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, next, Mr. Drumheller, tell us about NRCS.
All right, thank you. Good to see everybody. Couple things, just main thing we're working on right now is the EQIP ranking deadline, which is set for this Friday. So I know myself and the rest of the staff are busy getting all the paperwork for that. Also the CSP deadline, which may have changed since last time. I'm not sure. They keep changing it back and forth, but that is set for the end of this month, April 30th. Also, FSA is conducting compliance reviews. That's mainly for the highly erodible land, making sure that wetlands aren't being affected on USDA compliant farms, basically meaning anybody that participates with FSA or NRCS. So those compliance reviews will be conducted before the end of May. Let's see, as far as EQIP ranking deadline, we have 64 applications in the hopper for this year. Now, some of those will get canceled. So potentially 50 potential EQIP applications that could turn into contracts. And I think that's everything I need to cover. So any questions for me?
All right, how the twins doing?
Doing great, doing great. They're a handful, but it's been a lot of fun the last couple months. So.
Hey, okay. May it continue. May it continue.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Otherwise, we'll move on. Mr. Horn, talk to us.
Yeah, I guess one thing I'd like to update, make you aware of is the Virginia No-Till Alliance is a subcontractor for a grant that was secured by Roy McGuire at Virginia Tech. It's called Building Soil Health in Virginia. The No-Till Alliance portion is a farmer mentoring program where we are going to compensate farmers to pass along their knowledge to farmers that are interested in soil health and the environmental quality. So if you know of any farmers that are interested either from a mentor role or as a learning role, pass them along to me. It's a 3-year program. We're 1 year into it, but we're hoping for an extension due to the lack of activity last year. Yes, that's the.
Okay. And they need to contact you directly then?
Yes.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Doug. Any questions or comments for the extension? Okay, moving on. Do we have anybody for Virginia Department of Forestry? Okay, how about U.S. Forest Service? Okay, Planning Commission of any of the local authorities? Okay. We have a written report from DEQ. Is there anybody to comment on that? Okay. Read that thing. It's full of a lot of stuff, but they got a permit for it, I'm sure. Okay, is Samantha here?
I am here.
All right. Sam, let's go. Tell us about it.
We have been out in the field a lot and been very busy. So some of this applies to Augusta County. Some of it is next to you, but it probably would affect you. So we are at the peak part of stocking season everywhere. Stocking has been really high this year, a lot of volume and a lot of good catches. We just had actually a new record of fall fish. So we are continuing working with Dew Point on access sites for the Shenandoah River. We don't have anything public yet, but we are working on those. Next to you guys, but you'll probably hear about it, is Lake Shenandoah. We had been doing some work on the road there so that we can do some dam improvements. So those first trail improvements and improving the road to get back there are done, and the trail at Lake Shenandoah is completed. Our big Bowler Mountain, the 1,700 acre over in Bath County, we did complete with aerial ignitions with about 6 different agencies about 2 weeks ago. I'm sure you smelled our smoke that day. Yeah, it's a fun one. It was a great burn though, great burn. We have a new initiative called the Good Fire rollout going on right now. It's a new section of our website. We're doing a lot of social media things with it. It's basically talking about why our agency uses fire, where we use it, how we use it, and do the planning. So anybody that's interested in prescribed burning, it's got a lot of good information there with the Good Fire on our website. We have been working for about 1.5 years now, probably longer, with the Appalachian Mountain Joint Venture to do some golden wing warbler habitat. And we did get a very sizable grant to work on our Goshen WMA. And basically that grant is mostly going to be used for doing field studies, getting data, and then writing a proper management plan so that we can have good habitat in the most important areas. And the last thing that doesn't directly relate to you guys, but you'll probably want to know, is the Maury Dam that was removed in Lexington. We are now doing mussel surveys there and seeing how the river heals itself. So lots of surveys, lots of data going to be coming out of there for the next season or so. And that is everything we've got going on so far. Now is the field season.
All right. Any questions or comments to Sam? Thank you very much. I'm glad you're after it, girl. Keep us informed. Okay, is Jason here from Health Department? How about Austin for Chesapeake Bay? Okay, Dave, are you present?
I am.
All right, let's have it, buddy.
Okay, so it's been a pretty busy spring so far. And one of the our major areas of concentration is surrounding Earth Day, which is coming up here this week, April 22nd, this Thursday. And so Earth Day Stanton, which has used to have a live presentation in Gypsy Hill Park for the last 2 years, for reasons I think you can probably deduce. It has become a virtual event. So this year, they've scheduled a scavenger hunt, and it uses an action-bound app, which you can load onto your smartphone. And it's a pretty cool deal. If anybody's interested in finding out more about it, you can go on there's an earthdaystanton.org, I think is the website, where you can get through it through the Shenandoah Green website as well. But anyway, so Friends of the Middle River's participation in that is we've scheduled a spring litter cleanup and classification activity, concentrating on riparian areas in Lewis Creek in particular, since it is Earth Day Stanton. And our own Mr. Buzz Easterling has step forward and is becoming involved with that as well. Second is an art and photography activity. And thirdly, there's a paddle trip scheduled for May 1st. It's a Earth Day paddle trip. So that's a first. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. And on Shenandoah Green is also sponsoring a poetry contest to go with this scavenger hunt, to supplement it, I should say. Other Friends of the Middle River activities, we're continuing with our spring benthic monitoring, proceeding with, I should say. We've developed an E. coli training video, and there's a new program that's going to be in place in July. I say new program, different parts of the river that we're testing. I think I mentioned before in one of the meetings that we've collected enough data now on Christians Creek and Upper Middle River. We know where the hot spots are, and in results, the data have become very repetitive. So we're moving on to the lower part of the river, where more people actually are in the river, and it's probably more germane to health issues in that portion of the river. So anyway, and we're currently recruiting volunteer monitors. So if anybody's interested in doing that, let us know. Another thing we've done is we've developed a mile marker map, and this is on the Friends of the Middle River website. And along with that, and basically it gives you, establishes each, there's a pin drop basically at each mile marker along the river on this map. And along with that, we're in the process of developing a story map to talk about different points of interest along the river, including access sites. And of course, there are no public access sites, but with our river access program, we have some landowners who are allowing us with certain stipulations to put in and take out on their property. And along with that, there's the float trip schedule for 2021 is now set. Anyone interested can go on our website and see what that's all about. And one thing that's that I think should probably be of interest to this group is we have happened upon some information, some interesting information regarding navigability of the Middle River. This has long been a bone of contention between paddlers and landowners. And so the navigability is defined by a 5-mile drainage rule. In other words, if any point in the river drains a total of 5 square miles, it is determined to be navigable, and therefore anyone is allowed to paddle that portion of the river. Now there are a lot of landowners, farmers in particular, that will probably beg to differ with that, but that's the rule. So, again, anyone that's interested in that can get a hold of me, and I can flesh that out for you. And that's it for my report for today.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. The only question I would have for that is if they touch the banks, are they out of their domain, the paddlers?
Yes. This
Okay,
is the
that's
river.
all I need to
You
know.
have to be floating river. And and it's a little bit confusing to me whether you can actually even get out of your boat or not. I mean, if you're on somebody's private property, I think that's probably a gray area, and I think you're probably safe as long as you're in the river. But no, the answer to that is you cannot get out on somebody's property, even if it's just the bank of the river, unless you have their permission.
Okay.
I'll add about the cleanup on the 22nd. From 4:30 to 5:30, we've got Stewart Hall soccer fields, corner of Statler and Commerce. If anybody wants to meet there to help with the cleanup.
Okay, thank you, Buzz. Any other comments? Keep up the good work, Dave. All right, let's go into district reports. Otis, dams.
Okay, dam inspections, we did the inspections late last month. Good turnout on Wednesday. I think we had something like 11 people total. Thursday and Friday were a little bit lighter, but still had a good representation.
Okay.
EAP drill, we're going to do it electronically this year, and Michael's going to be sending out an email notice this month. This is just basically to update the contacts for the EAP. Spray contract is the last year of it, and they're going to be doing that in May. And the last item on the list is small dam repair funds. This is from DCR. We're looking for a $16,000 reimbursement for Tony Creek and a $110,000 reimbursement for H Ranch. And Mike, have anything there?
No, sir, that's it.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Otis. You were breaking up some, but I got most of it.
Okay, I tried to sign in with my laptop, but it wouldn't sign in. So I'm on this tablet here that's
Hey, it looks good. You're doing all right. All right. Finance and legislative, and I know Wendy's not available, so who's going to take that?
I will. For the
Okay,
audit completion, we had an online meeting with Arius Coleman from the auditing agency, was held on March the 30th with Rhonda and Wendy participating. All comments were very positive. We did great. Rhonda did a marvelous job of working with the agency to provide the documents and all the financial reports necessary. The exit meeting was relatively quick.
Good.
Legislative update. Don Wells sent an updated report on April 5th, noting that none of the current notes from the governor regarding possible change requests for submissions included soil and water issues. Thus, we are expecting that items that the General Assembly passed and were submitted to the governor for signature will be approved. Finance Committee. We will plan on meeting by the second week in May to start working on next year's budgetary needs. That's all for finance and legislative.
All right. Any comments or questions to Rhonda? All right. Thank you very much, young lady. Carry on. We move to personnel. Who's going to handle that?
I will as well.
All right. Rhonda, go for it.
The Personnel Committee is currently reviewing the staff's job descriptions. We have had examples sent from about 14 other districts. Though there are some common threads, every district has their own spin on jobs, and there's not really a good baseline for determine when someone might progress from one level to another. Example being a conservation technician versus a conservation specialist. We have requested staff's input on their jobs, comparing what they do to the current job descriptions list. The committee will meet again tomorrow on Wednesday, April 21st, for further work on these. Next, we're now able to have more people in the office at a time. Rhonda or Rachel can address any questions regarding this. The service center is now up to 50% staff, so it's actually 4 of us in the office now a day. Rachel has also updated the Headwaters Soil and Water Conservation District Emergency Infectious Disease Policy. Thank you, Rachel. She has done a lot of work with this as the federal, state, and county positions have evolved.
Okay, does the policy need any type of motion, second, that kind of stuff?
If you do, that way we have an effective date because there were some changes to the Code of Virginia, the 16 VAC 25-220. They have redacted the word temporary and added the word final permanent standard for infectious disease prevention. So this policy, we ran through it, checked the weeds, made sure what we had stands. It actually made it a little shorter. So.
A little shorter and it's still 9 pages long. Okay, so do you need a motion for that to be policy, or do we need to review it a month, or would it matter?
I believe it was sent out to you all ahead of time. Should have been, but if we could have an official motion for an effective date to show that as an employer we are following this guideline.
That is correct. I would do a motion.
Okay, the floor is open. Hello, floor.
So move.
Okay, need a second?
The second.
Okay, discussion during this time, and I have a little bit, I'm not gonna throw a lot of it in, but I think it's interesting. You don't get to, until you get to the 6th, 3rd, 4th page to say, if you're sick, stay home. Couldn't that go up there earlier than that? I'm just throwing this out. Okay, apparently not.
This is everything
Any
required by the Code of Virginia for employers of our state. So I'll
Yeah,
leave that at that.
I would just like the position of that up closer, because if you were sick and got to 5 pages, you may quit before you even know you're sick. All right, there it goes. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor of adopting the policy? Signify by saying yes when I call your name. Doug,
Yes.
Otis, Otis,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Buzz.
Yes.
Okay, it's approved. New policy in our book. Great. Thank you for all those that had to do that work. All right. Next thing on the list. Rhonda, what's this about the grant?
I'm sorry, what grant?
Yeah, there was an addition about the grant in that policy.
We have that under other business. It's something I think for the Augusta County Correctional Center NIFWIP grant.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to, I originally said to add it under personnel, but I didn't realize that she already had it on here under other business.
okay, very good. Well, then let's move on. Thank you. Okay, education. Is Jim on?
He is not, but I
We'll
can
take
provide.
you, Rachel.
I can provide our update. This week is Envirothon testing week. Our students are participating in their virtual competition, taking their online test this week. We will have results to reveal next Wednesday evening, which is the 28th at 7 p.m. to our teams. We are doing a virtual Earth Day event this year. We are having a watch and talk event for the movie Kiss the Ground, which is a soil health documentary with a team of local soil health panelists. That is next Thursday, the 29th from 7 to 8 p.m. If you need the registration link, it is on our Facebook page, or I can send it to you. Right now we have about 35 folks planning to participate, which is great. Along with that, we also have our window display up this month, as mentioned previously, in the Arcadia Project building, which is the Old Dixie Theater in downtown Stanton. Our education committee met last week to determine our scholarship recipient. They had selected Sayla Wangler. I believe that is how I pronounce her name. She is from Wilson Memorial High School, planning to go to Virginia Tech for biomedical engineering. And she was a previous youth conservation camp attendee from our district. So she was selected as the Headwaters scholarship recipient for 2021, and her application will be forwarded on to the Virginia Association Education Foundation for their scholarship consideration. And lastly, underground classroom, our visits are starting to get scheduled again, which is wonderful news. We have some coming up starting in June. And with that, I participated in a virtual workshop yesterday for the start of Volunteer Week to explain how we have used volunteers and interns in the past to help with our education programs. That is all I have, unless others have anything to add.
Chairman, I would like to add about the scholarship session that we had. You hear me? Can't hear me?
Charlie, you're very, very quiet.
I'm trying to talk. Not coming through, I guess. Can't hear it. Well, we're trying.
Rachel, can you hear him well enough to get his information and pass it on to us?
I can kind of relay if Charlie was planning to bring up what we discussed at our committee meeting, we have possible interest in a donation or a match to the scholarship. We asked that individual to provide us with further information or a letter of intent explaining what exactly they would like to see done with their contribution. Not sure if that's an update Charlie was going to bring, but that is where that had stood from last week.
That was what I was going to try to bring. I'm sorry you can't hear me. So I don't know what's going on.
I think that's what.
I sent a letter last night to the chairman that covered this, but I guess I'm not coming through.
Charlie said he was going to send you a letter on this, Rick. So.
Yeah, he said he sent one last night, but I had nothing on my email. So welcome to technology. It doesn't work.
Well, I was going to read the letter here and what we're proposing, but I guess we're not getting through.
I don't know if we're going to be able to hear you enough, Charlie, to do that, to be able to accurately reflect it in the minutes. So it'll be best to send that via email.
Okay. Charlie, I apologize. I wish we could hear you and act on this. Although I think what you got in mind would not require a board motion, but we'll see. Okay, let's move on to ag cost share. Mr. Drumheller, ag and cost share.
All right, thank you. Before we get to approvals, can y'all hear me okay? I'm getting some feedback.
Yeah, Otis, I think it's you. I have to call you out, but your screen keeps lighting up.
Oh, really?
All right, is that better? No, I'm still getting it on my end. I'll just power through it.
Let me mute mine and see what happens.
Okay, yeah, that's a little better. Yep.
Yeah, that's the one.
So before we get started on approvals, I'd like to mention that Mr. Bobby Weiscarver is hosting a virtual happy hour for Earth Day. He has invited me to attend the Zoom meeting, Zoom happy hour, I guess, and has asked me to give a toast to Headwaters. So I'll be doing that on Thursday at 5 o'clock. And so Rachel, I may be asking you for just some info on how much money we spent, or how many acres we've improved in the past year. So just wanted to mention that to everybody. So Rachel has up the list of approvals. We'll start with the BMPs. I'll make the motion that we approve the list of BMPs as listed.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Let's proceed to vote positive. Doug?
Yes.
Otis?
Yes.
Bobby?
Yes.
And Buzz?
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Appeals. Is there anything that we need to discuss on these, Rachel or Aaron or John?
I just caught it. Looks like our note column, it got cut off. The first SL6W, that is the well yield was not enough, so a new well is needed. These SL7s, I believe. Give me 1 second, I can check for us.
The one, Rachel, needs a new pumping plant, not in the original estimate for the first SL7, and the second one, additional cross fence was installed.
Thank you, Rhonda.
You're welcome.
And then the second SL6W, is an appeal as well.
And that's
Pulling that up.
additional pipeline, rock claws, gate, and fence chargers from 2020 unobligated funds.
Yes, so that's a 2020 project. And the last one is a 2018 DuPont funds where we're going to shift some funds around from what that was. They have multiple contracts shifting from one to another.
Okay. Any questions on those from the board? I'll make the motion. We approve these appeals as listed.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Again, we'll vote to approve. Buzz,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Otis,
Yes.
and Doug.
Yes.
Motion passes on the appeals.
And a few conservation plans written this month. Make the motion that we approve these conservation plans.
Second.
Okay, again, we'll approve or vote to approve Doug,
Yes.
Otis,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
and Buzz.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
And 3 nutrient management plans written this month that we need to approve to officially have them on file. I make the motion we approve those.
Second.
Okay, again, those in favor, Doug,
Yes.
Otis,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
and Buzz.
Yes.
Okay, approved. No tax credits.
I don't think so.
All right.
You won't
So-
see any tax credits until after July.
Well, good.
So next up is I would like to discuss some of the solar projects. So I was talking with staff middle of last week. And there's a potential project that that the planners plan for it to be a solar project. Reason being is because the estimate from the power company was over $30,000 to set a new service and to set the new poles needed to get the electric there. Well, DCR's engineering staff has told us that because of least cost, technically feasible alternative, and the way that our cost list is set up, that the least cost is electrical hookup. Our cost list, I believe, is set for at $5,000 for an electrical hookup and not $30,000. Pretty couple thousand. So which means that we would not be able to pay the full amount on the solar because that's a higher amount on our cost list than electrical hookup. Did that make sense?
A little bit.
A little bit. Anyway, the best way I would know to solve that issue is so we can pay for the full amount of solar. Solar on our cost list is $10,000. Am I correct about that, Reg?
Yes, other staff can speak up if I'm incorrectly speaking, but I believe so.
We have set the electrical hookup at 5,000. So we're capped at 5,000 because that's the least cost scenario. Even though if we go with the quote unquote least cost scenario, it's going to cost the landowner $33,000. I've made the argument that it should be least cost in reality, not least cost based on our cost list. And it's for this this issue right here. I mean, obviously $33,000 is a lot of money. It's not technically feasible by the landowner to spend that kind of money, especially if our cost list is set at 5,000. Therefore, I, as a planner, would plan for a solar powered pump. However, DCR's engineering staff has told us, well, we got to set that lease cost based on our cost list, our approved cost list. Well, I think it's not going to be as big of a deal if we work on our cost list a little bit for next fiscal year. And so my proposal is going to be that we have a average cost in our cost list for a new electrical hookup and set that at 30 to 35,000. Which would but we would still have a $5,000 cap for hooking on to existing service. Does everybody follow me? Any questions so far?
So is this something that will be handled when the new cost list is being discussed and approved, or do you want something to happen now to get this project underway?
No, I think it's going to be handled when we do pass a new cost list. When it was more of an issue last week, but we've gotten clarification from Amanda Pennington, the DCR's engineer, and I'm not really saying I agree with her reasoning, but it is clear, and I think it's something that we can deal with. There was an issue because we have a solar project that's already approved, and we were concerned that we would get some blowback on that, but it sounds like we won't now from the engineering staff. They're approving that solar project, and they will, as long as we work on a new cost list for to reflect the realities with the cost of hooking up to a new service with the power company. So anyway, I don't think we need to take action today. Just kind of wanted you to be informed of it. Rachel, did I cover everything? Is there anything else we should mention about that?
I think you did a good job, Bobby. The bottom line is this Ag and Cost Share Committee members especially will be looking at this pretty hard when we look at revising our average cost list for next year. We can't do any action this year because it's already been set.
And we're making a list of changes that need to be made. This is one of them. And if you give me that number you want it to be again, I can put that down. So you want to separate a new connection from a connection to existing.
Yeah, I think that would solve the issue here. And I can get you in touch with somebody from the Shenandoah Valley Electric Cooperative. And then maybe we should call Dominion as well, and just kind of get an average cost for what a new service is gonna run.
I'm writing down 5,000 for connection to existing and 30,000 for new, just for a baseline to start the discussion.
Yeah, tentatively, yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay.
And maybe I should have added this to the agenda as well. But maybe we don't have to talk about it. Rachel, should we talk about the certified letter being returned to us?
We can, action would not be taken on that until May, but we did, if you recall from previous meetings, we have a participant that's out of compliance. He was sent a certified letter per the VAX manual guidelines when dealing with out of compliance projects. And that participant rejected, but failed to accept that letter. So.
And is Mark still on here?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you know if the certified letter is refused and returned back to us, is that letter still binding?
Well, if you're asking a legal question, I can't answer that. But I think from a practical standpoint, the rejection of that certified letter can certainly be construed as an answer.
Okay. Well, that sounded like a legal answer.
Was it rejected, or was the letter not being able, they couldn't deliver the letter?
The official wording from the post office was return to sender was refused.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna do what we said we were gonna do in that letter, which is a visit May the 4th or 3rd or somewhere that week. And I will be on that visit, and we will follow the instructions to the letter.
Sounds
Okay.
appropriate.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. That concludes the report for agriculture.
Okay, Bobby, and maybe Mark, if you're still on.
Yes.
I'm getting a lot of discussion from a couple of districts, especially Shenandoah, on cost inflation and how to handle that with our secondary considerations. And I just want people to know that because of the outrageous cost in these projects because of material costs, we are at least pursuing the possibility of being able to change those once a year as opposed to whatever we come up with in
July
before the end of the business year run all year long, because they've just gotten so we can't keep up.
It'll be a topic
So
for the state board coming up.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
And there is a lot to be concerned with, because what happens if the costs drop as opposed to right now they're going up out of sight? What happens if they drop out of sight? You know, it's just interesting discussion right now, but we need to have a part in that discussion. So just information.
If the cost drops, you're paying you're paying based on actual or the district's estimate, whichever is less.
Yeah.
So deflation, I think, will take care of itself. It's the inflationary times we're experiencing that are bringing extraordinary pressure on all of us.
Yeah, that's fair statement. Okay,
Wasn't a
anything
legal
else,
statement.
Bob? Yeah, that wasn't
it.
legal. Thank you, Mark. Are you done, Bobby?
Yes, sir. That's it for ag and cost share.
All right. Thank you very much. What about resource management plan?
No report on that.
Okay. DeBose is not with us. I see a note under urban conservation that Christian would like to attend. Do we need to vote on that, or can he just do that?
We have training in the budget. We just wanted to bring it to you all's attention as this would be something new that a staff member would be going through. If I can go back to my right thing, this is a certification program that related to stormwater BMPs that could potentially significantly help staff knowledge surrounding our BCAP program and the BMPs implemented through that manual. So Christian would like to attend this training that is coming up partially virtual and then partially in person this summer. If he applies, he said he'll get a discount by the end of the month, but then this would be a recertification program every few years if he would pass the test.
Well, make sure Christian knows that if he wants certification in making hay, I can do that for him. Oh, okay. All right.
The city
Mr.
of Waynesboro, I'm sorry, Rick, this is Rhonda. The city of Waynesboro had emailed me a report. I don't know if you guys want me to share that since DeBose is not here, or if that's really not needed.
A report on what?
I guess kind of
Urban-
urban conservation.
Yeah, if you would, go ahead and share that with us, Rhonda.
Okay. The RFP for the Holtman Station Pond feasibility study to convert to a constructed wetland has been awarded to Wiley Wilson. The study will initiate late April and be completed in time to apply for the SLAF funding if the site is suitable for the conversion. Stormwater staff is delivering 4th grade stormwater education at 2 of the city's elementary schools in mid-April. There have been no school presentations since the fall of 2019. Public education has been solely on the stormwater webpage. Public Works is hosting a watershed cleanup at the latter part of Earth Day week. There's currently a church group slated for the cleanup of the East Main Street corridor. A group of high school students will clean 2 local roads, and paddlers and a few volunteers by foot to clean a stretch of the South River and adjacent roads. Volunteers can find information and sign up on the City of Waynesboro website. And last, the annual stormwater flush contract will be awarded this month. There's a 1,000 LF of pipe to be filmed and flushed and 75 inlets and 31 manholes to be cleaned. That's it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you read that. Thank you. That's a good update.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments on that? Okay, let's move on. Mr. Huppert, you've got 2 listings here.
I'm not sure you can hear me, so I have all this to give you, but I don't think you can hear me.
Give it a whirl. We'll try.
All right, at McCormick Farm, we've had a master naturalist who helped out planting various oak trees and other hardwoods, and they're very welcome to be with us. We're also planning again to treat the ash trees that were treated 3 years and 2 years ago, and we're going to try to have the forestry state employees to help us actually to inject the benzoin into the ash trees, and this will make it a lot cheaper than trying to put it out for contract. So we hope to save those important ash trees that are so many along the trail that would be a disaster if they all go. So that's one effort we're at the farm. We also hope to get some more inmates again. They look like they'll be letting them out, maybe. Well, we hope they're letting them out under supervision. And so we would like to have them help us on the trail to improve some of the maintenance and so forth that were badly needed from winter rains and so forth. We also have had a big timber sale down there that did not get as much as they had hoped as far as the bidding, but it's pretty significant on a couple of methods of cutting in patches, kind of a German method, and so we're going to try that, and it would be a pretty significant sale on about 70 acres of the farm. So that is a couple of things that we're doing, and we'll probably be doing some more invasive control down there, which we have plenty of opportunities for that. So that is one of the main opportunities for this this spring. So there's about where we are, if you can hear that.
All right, busy. Thank you, Charlie. How about your easement section? Any news on that?
No, I have nothing on that, I'm sorry.
All right. Any questions or comments to Charlie? Thank you, sir. We appreciate your work, and we'll get where we can hear you and read your letter and go from there.
Yeah, good deal.
Okay. Mr. Horn's not on for land use. Anybody have any land use significant issues or comments? Okay. Otis, Pure Water.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Please note the Area 1 spring meeting is coming up real quick, April the 27th. Kevin Cron and I are I don't know what we are, called co-chairmans or what they call us, but it may be a tag team event. We're talking about it, but we're looking forward to that. And please register and get ready to participate if you can. And I appreciate all the work that our office and Shenandoah's and whoever else is involved in getting that set up. Okay, the NIFWIF grant. Who's going to talk on that?
John, do you want to say something about it? John wants to send a letter to Ann Jennings about the quality assurance project plan for the Augusta County jail property.
Is
John,
with us?
Apparently he's not on. He wants to send a letter telling her that. Are you on, John?
Yes, I'm on.
You want to talk about that letter that you want to send in?
Okay. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. All right. The NIFWIF grants for the Augusta County Correctional Center, we're going to be putting in about 5 miles of stream exclusion. The grant was actually written by the Office of Natural Resources at the top of the state level, but state agencies are not eligible for NIFWIF grants, so they asked us to submit it. And it was flagged because of some monitoring and assessments and evaluations and things of that nature. All the buzzwords that you put into a grant to get it to be approved were flagged as needing quality assurance project plans as to how you were going to do the monitoring, the evaluations, and the assessments. And I have attempted to write those. They keep being sent back to me with more and more information needed. So I would like to just turn it back up to the state. They wrote the grant and have them take care of this. There are people who work on this. There are some contractors who can work on it, and there's some have offered assistance. So I think we need to turn it over to avoid any further delays.
I just want to mention that this last set of comments that was sent back to John, it's 20 pages long, 39 different comments, and every because of a document deficiency categories, and that's so everyone's 39. Looking through it, I thought, heck with this.
Otis, you're going to have to learn sign language because we can't understand.
I apologize. This thing's working fine. Last time I used the laptop, couldn't sign in. We'll have to do some more experimenting, find out what's going on.
Okay, but we got the, I guess, the gist of it. John, my question is, does that mean for our staff, we are completely out of this project, or will we offer technical assistance and stuff like that?
We are still involved because we submitted it. And so we will have to collect the invoices from the Department of Corrections and forward those to NIFWIF for reimbursement. So we're going to still have plenty of involvement in this grant. But as far as writing these, I just do not understand what they keep sending it back for. They want more and more information. And it's just time to send it back to somebody who actually lives this on a daily basis and let them write it.
Yeah, I think that's a good understanding. We'll go from there. Now, we don't need a motion on this or anything, do we?
You don't have a quorum anymore because Buzz dropped off.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Buzz dropped off.
I was
All
just
right,
going
well,
to say,
let's go ahead. I'm sorry, Otis.
I don't think we need a motion, do we?
I don't know that we need a motion to turn it back over to them. They wrote the grant.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and get the correspondence, John, and send to them, and let's see what the reaction is.
Okay.
And thank you for that work. Okay, that's the end of the agenda items. Is there anybody else that has something to bring before the meeting? Okay, if not, thank you all very, very much. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And don't forget your winter coat earlier or later in the week. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Rick.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Rachel.
You're welcome. Charlie, we'll get together, or Rick, your email comes through and we'll get that letter so we have it for official correspondence. I just don't think Rhonda would have been able to get all that down as quiet as it was.
No, I didn't. I got some parts of it, but I wasn't able to hear it all. And it seemed like when you were closer to the monitor, I could start hearing you better, but then when you kind of set back, it kind of got blurry. So if you could send me just kind of an email, a blurb of what you said, that'd be great.
All right, I'll send it.
Thank
right
you.
now.
All righty, everybody. Have a good week.
You too.
Thank you.